Hello student, welcome back. Let's start with our next module on Internet Protocol. As of now, you all are aware of Internet, what we call as network of networks. But do you know there are some rules to govern the use of Internet? See, in our conventional world, we have some rules to walk on a road. We have rules to follow at our workplace, at our school, and rules for public places. Tell me, why do we follow all these rules? Why? This is because we want to maintain our discipline, to avoid accident, to have best credibility. Similarly, in virtual world, we have to follow some guidelines, instructions, regulations, directions, and laws to avoid accident. That means we want the traffic of electronic data to travel safely, smoothly, and within the permissible time. And above all, it should be reliable and secure also. So let's start. What do you mean by protocol? These are the rules which govern the use of Internet, or more precisely, these are the set of rules or methods that allow the data communication between two or more computers over the Internet. It defines what kind of data is to be sent, how it should be sent, and when it should be sent. Therefore, such protocol tell about standardized way of doing certain actions and formatting data so that two or more devices are able to communicate and understand each other. Now, dear friends, $100 question is, who is making all these rules when we say there is exactly no owner of the Internet? So, I would say it had its origin from 1970. When scientists named Robert Kahn and Vinton Cerf made Transmission Control Protocol, an Internet protocol, famously represented as TCP/IP, a standard communication model that specifies how data could be transmitted between multiple networks. And ARPANET, which is considered to be the ancestor or precursor of modern Internet, adopted this TCP/IP on January 1983, and from there researchers have come up with various types of the protocols. It is important to mention here about RFCs. Now, what do you mean by this RFCs? This is called as request for comments, which are considered official document of Internet specifications, communication protocols, procedures and events. Next question comes to our mind is, who is responsible for creating all these RFCs? So dear friends, these RFCs are authored by engineers and computer scientists in the form of memorandum describing methods, behaviors, research or innovation applicable to the working of Internet and Internet connected system. Other task forces which may contribute to for such protocols could be Internet Engineering Task Force, that is IETF, the Internet Research Task Force, that is IRTF, the Internet Architecture Board, IAB, or even independent authors also can contribute for such protocols. And above all, there is ISO, that is International Organization for Standardization, which works for the uniformity of various processes. Presently, there are lots of Internet protocols which are being used today, and we shall discuss some of the most commonly used Internet protocols like IP, that is Internet Protocol, TCP, Transmission Control Protocol, UDP, the User Datagram Protocol, HTTP, the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Next one is HTTPS, secured version of HTTP. FTP, the File Transfer Protocol. Telnet, SMTP, the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. POP, the Post Office Protocol. WAIS, the Wide Area Information Service, and many other like Voice over Internet Protocol, Gopher, etc. So dear student, we are going to discuss all these Internet protocols one by one. So let's start with the first protocol, that is IP, called as Internet Protocol. The Internet Protocol is a method or protocol by which data is sent from one computer to another on the Internet. A computer, which could be a laptop, a server, an electronic device, a router, or a mobile phone, which is on the Internet, act as a host and possess a unique identity in form of IP address. So IP is a type of address through which we can identify different computers on the Internet. Do you know why Internet Protocol was accepted wholeheartedly? Because it works in the same manner all over the world, and it can travel over any communication mode, say it be Ethernet, frame relay, wireless, whatever. The original version of Internet Protocol that was first initiated in 1983 in ARPANET is Internet Protocol version 4, represented as IPv4, which is represented as a set of 32-bit logical numbers such as 192.168.1.1. You must have noticed such numbers in your laptop or mobile. They ranges from 0.0.0.0 to 255.255.255.255, which are provided by your internet service provider. Such numbers called the logical numbers because their representation conveys some logic. That is the first 24 bit, that is the first 3 octet recognize the network, and the remaining 8 bits indicate the host within that network or a particular machine in that network. Dear friends, IPv4 addresses have become almost saturated because of the exponential growth of the Internet beyond our imagination, and has led to the demand of new version called Internet Protocol version 6, which uses 128 bits for the IP address rather than 32-bit as it was in IPv4. I would like to mention here about DNS, that is Domain Name System or Domain Name Server. Dear friends, as I mentioned that every computer in Internet possesses a unique IP address, but we never use such addresses to search a website or send a message. Rather, we use DNS, that is Domain Name System, a distributed system which translates human readable domain name into IP addresses. It is called as distributed system because a single DNS server is not able to keep a record of each and every host name to its IP address. So every time you use a domain name, a specific domain name server translates the name into corresponding IP address. So such domain name server keep a directory of domain names and translate them in IP addresses. It is very important for you to know about DNS because this is usually spoofed by the hackers for hacking. Now let us see what is the credibility of Internet Protocol, which is our main concern when we are in networking. Since it is a connectionless protocol and gives no assurance of successful transmission of data, thus considering not a reliable protocol. So just to make it more answerable, it is coupled with more responsible protocol, that is TCP, which works at the transport layer. So let's know what is TCP. TCP is Transmission Control Protocol. As the name implies, it acts as traffic controller. Yes, traffic controller for the information being traveling on the Internet. Let us see why. As I mentioned earlier, a protocol decides how, when, and where the information should be sent. Thus, when a networked computer received information, it is broken into the chunks called as packets. It is the TCP which acts as a cop to decide how much packet has to be sent for transmission for best efficiency. Therefore, act as traffic controller. Now let us see how TCP works. It is responsible for dividing the message into small packets, and every packet has a unique serial number which when received at the receiver computer is again reassembled as per the serial number and is converted to information which can be read by the user. Now let's talk about the TCP IP suite. As we mentioned earlier in the starting of module, this is the most reliable and standard method for transmitting packets from source to destination. Here TCP and IP work together to transmit data over the internet. Here each packet during transmission comprises of two parts, a header and a data payload, where the header represents where to route the packets and the payload specifies the carrying capacity of the packet. Dear students, it is important to know about the different abstraction layer of this protocol. This protocol has 4 abstraction layers, each with its own protocols. Starting from the lowest to highest layer, there are the link layer, which contains communication technology for a local network like Ethernet. The internet layer that connects local network thus leads to networking. The transport layer which handles host to host communication, and the application layer which contain all protocol for specific data communication services. For example, we have HTTP protocol which directs how a web browser communicate with a web server. So as you have just seen that although TCP IP suite work together, but they work at different levels, where TCP bundles data into TCP packets and IP in turn encapsulate these into IP packets, means assign unique IP addresses to these packets. Talking about the reliability of this protocol, it is connection oriented protocol. As before transmitting data, TCP opens a connection with the recipient and makes sure that all packets arrive in order. Even an acknowledgement is sent after getting each packet. Missing packets will be sent again if recipient is not acknowledged, therefore considered very secure and reliable protocol. Example of such TCP protocol is email, voice call services on our phones. Next protocol we are going to discuss is UDP. UDP stands for User Datagram Protocol. It is an alternative to TCP. So once the packet arrive at their destination, they are handled differently depending on which transport protocol is used in combination with IP, that is TCP or UDP. UDP was designed by David P. Reed in 1980 and is defined in RFC 768. In UDP, the data packets are named as datagram. It is the connectionless protocols, means datagram service routes datagrams without first fixing a predetermined path, as in case of TCP. You know, datagram services can be compared to normal post rather than a registered post, where the sender does not get any acknowledgement for successful delivery of their mail or their letter. Therefore, not as reliable protocol as TCP. But UDP is faster than TCP as it does not follow high encryption features as being followed in TCP. For that reason, UDP is generally preferred protocol for streaming HD videos or downloading torrent, etc. Dear students, our next protocol is HTTP, which we use daily on internet. So first of all, what is the full form of HTTP? It is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Hypertext Transfer Protocol is a set of rules for transferring files, whether text file, graphic files, sound files, video files, or any other multimedia files on the World Wide Web, and runs on the top of TCP/IP suite of the protocols, as we discuss in TCP/IP suite. And why the name HTTP? This is because it shares hypertext between two computers. And what is this hypertext? It is a type of text in HTML, that is Hypertext Markup Language, used for designing the web pages. Now let us see how it works. This protocol establishes a secure connection with the server and a browser which act as a HTTP client send request to the server. When server accept the request, it sends a response to client. Then HTTP tells the server which resource is being requested by the client, which are subsequently provided to the client. It is pertinent to mention here about port number. By default, the port number 80 of HTTP server listen to client. Oh, what is this port number? There are these specific numbers at server end which identifies the application or service running on the computer and respond accordingly. Dear student, next protocol is HTTPS. It is the secure version of HTTP to access HTML pages, therefore mostly used for developing government and financial websites like banking, online trading, etc. Why secure? It uses transport layer protocol and secure socket layer protocols to encrypt normal HTTP request so that data is transferred privately and securely between web server and web browser. It works on the port number 443. A website that uses HTTP has http:// in its URL, and secured version has https://. It is very important to ensure that you are working on such secure website, as this protocol provides a secure way to be on internet and save our data to be hacked. Dear students, next protocol is File Transfer Protocol, that is FTP, which is a standard internet protocol for transmitting files between computer on the internet over TCP/IP suite. So it is a TCP based service exclusively. This protocol specifically deals with files which could be in form of text, audio, video or GIF images. FTP is again a client server based protocol and has a specific feature that works on two communication channels, the command channel and data channel, for actually transferring the files. This feature facilitates the sending of command to the server without waiting for current data to transfer to be finished. FTP uses specific port number 21. Now, what is the working of FTP? FTP sessions work in passive and active modes, which determine how a data connection is established. In both active and passive mode, a client creates a TCP control connection to the FTP server at port number 21. In active mode, where client establishes the command, but server is responsible for establishing the data channels. But this mode has one drawback. Since client is behind the firewall, it is unable to accept the incoming TCP connection. For this reason, passive mode was introduced and mostly used today in most of these protocols. It is the responsibility of client to set up both the channels. It works well across firewalls and the network address transmission gateways. Dear student, next concept is Telnet. Now we will learn what is Telnet and how does it work. This protocol is used by local area network to access the remote computer by establishing a connection through remote login or remote access. But how does it establish connection? Telnet enables remote control of the computers via text-based input. So various commands are typed on local computer which are being executed on the remote computer having the Telnet program installed on it. Then after that you can access and monitor the processes executed on the remote computer. It uses port number 23 for sending the commands. Telnet was developed in 1969 with RFC 15 with an extension in RFC 855. Dear student, next protocol is Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, that is SMTP. Now how and where it is used? As the name indicates, this protocol is used to transfer mail, that is sending or receiving the mails. Simple Mail Transfer Protocol uses TCP IP protocol for sending and receiving emails. So it is also a connection oriented protocol. However, since it is limited in its ability to queue messages at the receiving end, so it usually works with one or the two other protocols, that is IMAP and POP3, where IMAP, that is stands for Internet Message Access Protocol, which is a standard protocol used by email client to retrieve email messages from the mail server over the TCP IP connection. And the POP3, which is Post Office Protocol 3, allows the user to save those messages in the server mailbox and download them periodically from the server. SMTP server commonly use the Transmission Control Protocol on the port number 25. Dear students, our next protocol is Post Office Protocol, that is POP. Let's start with the definition of POP we just mentioned in SMTP. POP protocol is used to receive the mails, or we can say it is the type of internet protocol that take out and recover emails from a remote mail server for access by host machine. POP is an application protocol in the OSI model that provides end user the ability to fetch and receive the emails. It is also a connection oriented service, therefore considered secured and works on the port number 110. Working of the POP is that it uses TCP IP protocol stack for network connection and works with the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol for end-to-end email communication. Where POP draw messages, SMTP pushes them to the server. From 2012, the Post Office Protocol is in its third version, known as POP3, and is commonly used in most email client-server communication architecture. Next protocol we are going to talk about is VoIP, that is Voice over Internet. Have you ever thought how you are able to make voice calls over Skype, WhatsApp or FaceTime? This is because of Voice over Internet protocol. When voice meets IP, it results in Voice over Internet protocol. Means voice will travel from one end to other end over IP at network and allows calling through audio and video calls. Our next protocol is Gopher. Gopher is a set of rules or programs which works on client-server principles, where user uses the Gopher program, through which accesses the files on server. Earlier it provided a text interface to local computer, but later on supported some images format like GIF and JPEG. Gopher was succeeded by HTTP protocol, but presently have few implications. Gopher-based database can be accessed through two search engines like Veronica and Jughead. It works on port number 70. Let's now know about WAIS, that it stands for Wide Area Information Service. It is an internet search tool based on the Z39.50 standard, works on the client-server model, where a WAIS client program enables the user to contact WAIS server. Because of the abundance of content and search engines available on web, very few WAIS servers are operational now. Next concept is MIME. It is related to idea of network protocols and standardization. There is a concept of a file MIME type, that is MIME stands for Multi-Purpose Internet Mail Extension. Based on a document's MIME type, an application program can decide how to deal with the data it is given. So dear students, this is all from our Internet Protocol module. We learned about different types of the protocols which are being used when we access Internet. As we all use Internet, but mostly we are unaware which protocol is running behind the web page. Hope this module will help you in learning these protocols. I hope you enjoyed the session. Meet you in the next module. So goodbye, keep learning.